In this video, we'll go over the notifications and messaging settings. It's important to understand these settings because they control how and why users get notified. They may seem a little confusing at first, but after watching this video, you'll be an expert. We'll go through a few examples and learn all there is to know about notifications and messaging settings. We'll have a look at work orders and work requests, parts and supplies, purchasing, and finally, what we call third-party user notifications. Let's get started. We'll start with the user messaging settings. User messaging settings are typically modified by an administrator because they have access to the settings module. I'm currently signed in as an administrator, so I can view or change the settings for any user by selecting Settings, Users, and the user. I'll select myself, Ryan Brandt, and take a look at the Messaging tab. These message settings determine which notifications the user gets based on their asset assignments, such as work order or asset offline/online notifications. Here we can see the Email All Messages and the Internal Mail All Messages buttons. These define how a user is notified. Messages will be sent to the user's email address, such as Gmail or Outlook, if the Email All Messages option is selected. Messages will also appear in the CMMS notifications inbox if the Internal Mail All Messages option is selected. The settings selected under the Work Orders and Work Requests section influence what notification messages will be sent. The Pending, Active, and Closed buttons refer to work order statuses. All work order statuses fall into these three buckets. When a work order status is changed to one of these, a notification gets sent to the user. The next set of radio buttons indicate which assets the user will receive notifications for. All assets means every asset in the site or CMMS. Assets I am assigned to refers to the assets listed in the Assigned section of the user log. If you appear in the Personnel tab of an asset, you'll receive a notification for all work orders created for that asset. If you need to check which assets and work orders any user is assigned to, hop over to the Log tab on the right of the screen. Assets in the facility that I manage, simply add the user to the Personnel tab of a facility, location, room, or department, and that user will receive all work orders for all assets inside that location. If I was the supervisor of a department, I'd want to receive the work requests and also get notified when the technician completes the work, so I'd choose Pending and Assets in the facilities that I manage. If I was a process engineer on a few complex machines, I'd want to get notifications for all active work orders on those machines, so I'd check Active and Assets I'm assigned to. Finally, if I was the plant manager, I'd want to see what work is being done on a daily basis, so I'd select Closed and All Assets. Not every asset may be available in the system, such as office chairs, windows, etc. So check this checkbox to receive notifications when a work order has no asset. Next, let's look at work orders. If we create a work order on an asset that has an assigned user, you'll see they get added to the Notifications tab of the work order. They aren't assigned to any work, but still need to be kept in the loop. When we add a task and assign Bob to the work, you'll see Bob also appears in the Notifications tab of the work order. Finally, I can add additional users to the work order if needed. Let's say this particular work order could delay an important order. So I'll add Dave the plant manager and notify him when the work order is closed. Simple. Now let's look at the parts and supplies. By default, all parts and supplies have the logistics group assigned in their Personnel tab. This means that anytime the part has a stock that falls below its minimum quantity, the whole logistics group will be notified. This is covered in more detail in the parts and supplies video. Of course, as with work orders and assets, you can assign a user or user group to that specific part so that they receive notifications as well. With a part now having a low stock, it's a good time to have a look at purchasing notifications. Purchase orders go through a few steps. They start as a draft and can go through an approval process all the way to being received and closed. As with many items in the CMMS, purchase orders have a Notifications tab that is by default populated with the purchasing and logistics groups. If the PO was generated following a purchase request, the requester is added to the list as well. You have the option to receive notifications at all steps of the PO by going into your CMMS settings, then look up tables, scroll down to the purchase order status table and pick one of the statuses. I'll pick the approved status. Checking the email notification column of the on order status means that anytime a PO goes from approved to on order, a notification will be sent. You can customize this for all transactions of PO statuses. Finally, the last notification type is third-party notifications. If your CMMS has the third-party notifications feature turned on, you can send notifications to users outside the maintenance team. This is great if you want to keep someone in the loop that does not need to be a user of the CMMS. A great example would be to assign a member of your health and safety team to critical assets and scheduled maintenances. Let's do this for Jennifer, our health and safety representative. I'll navigate to my scheduled maintenances and pick the monthly fire extinguishers maintenance. In the Notifications tab, I'll hit the New button and pick Inactive from the drop-down. And select Jennifer. She'll now get notifications every time the maintenance is triggered. And that's it. Thanks for watching.